everybody, Lord Tremendous here. Got a battle report here for you. This is Owl GT Game 4. It's a 2,000 point battle. My Ogre Kingdoms versus Warriors of Chaos. And this is a rock solid, super tough list that I'm up against, which makes sense. It's a GT. And it's game 4, so it's getting towards the end there. I think there's 2 more games after this one. Yeah, I run up against an individual who goes by King Pash, and he's a terrific player. I've seen this guy play in other GTs. I know his reputation. He's very good. And yeah, I was not going into this game feeling confident at all, but I was excited to go up against somebody of his caliber. So this one's great. I can't wait to get into it. So sit back, relax, and get ready to see the carnage. Here's my list, and there's been no changes because it's a GT. I can't make any changes. So I have my Slaughtermaster at 390 points. He's my General, level 4 Wizard with Illusions. Got the Butcher's Cauldron, Grut Sickle, a Blood Cleaver, and the Potion of Strength. Then I've got a Hunter at 194 points. He's my Scout. He's got an additional hand weapon and a Harpoon Launcher, as well as the Armor of Silver and Steel, a Cathayan Jet Pendant, and he has the big name Longstrider. Last but not least is my Bruiser, Lord Tremendous, at 396 points. He's got a Thunder Tusk. He's my BSB. I gave him the Rampaging Banner, so he makes those charges. He's got the Armor Meteoric Iron, a Talisman of Protection, and the big name Death Cheater. In core, I have 2 Saber Tusks that have the Scout Special Rule that go with the Hunter, 20 Noblar Fighters, 3 Ogre Bulls butt naked, and 7 Iron Guts with full command, the Bull Standard, and Veteran. Rounding out my army is an Iron Blaster and 4 Mournfang Cavalry with Banner, Musician, the Cannibal Totem, Great Weapons, and Heavy Armor. Here's my opponent's list, and I was playing Warriors of Chaos list, King Pash. This is, again, Owl GT Game 4, so this one's actually meaningful. Really scary list, I'm not going to lie. And to prove that, he's got 1,000 points in characters. Holy God. Starting off with his Chaos Lord, who's his General. He's got the Mark of Nurgle. He's on a Chaos Steed with a shield. He's got the Ogre Blade, the Paymaster's Coin, and Favor of the Gods. Also, just because he's got the Enchanting Aura. So, yeah, the scariest Lord imaginable that's not on a dragon. Then he's got a Sorcerer Lord at 336 points, who's level 4 Wizard with Battle Magic. He's got the Mark of Tzeentch. He's got a Chaos Steed as well. It's got the Infernal Puppet, the Spell Familiar, and the Armor of Meteoric Iron. Last but not least is a second Sorcerer Lord at 311 points, who's a level 4 Wizard using Demonology. He's got the Mark of Chaos Undivided. He's on a Chaos Steed. He's got the coolest item in the game, well, arcane item in my opinion in the game, the Tome of the Dark Gods, a Spell Familiar, and the Power Scroll. Oh my goodness. In core, he's got 504 points total, starting off with 10, that's right, 10 Chaos Knights. Oh my goodness. I saw that brick and I won't lie, I cried a little on the inside. Like, what am I gonna do? Full command, the Brazen Collar and the War Banner, which is a great kit. Lances and shields. Then he's got a unit of 7 Marauder Horsemen at 110 points with a Musician and the Mark of Tzeentch. They also have shields, and then of course he's got 6 Chaos Warhounds for 41 points with Vanguard. Rounding out this steel hard list is 496 points of special, 7 Chosen Chaos Knights. It got worse! Oh, sweet lord! Full command, Mark of Nurgle, and the Brazen Collar, and they've got full plate, armor, lances, shields, all the goodness. Yeah, one of the best knight units in the entire game. Of course, they are drilled as well. And then he's got 2 Dragon Ogre Shartaks with heavy armor and great weapons. Oh my goodness, this list is perfect. The scenario for round 4 is Blizzard. Basically, a bunch of Chaos Winds have fueled a raging blizzard, sowing confusion and deceit, which is a sentient blizzard, which is kind of spooky. It's a modified deployment zone. I can't remember which one it is exactly, but it's 8 inches from the corners and 14 inches deep, which is a little bit different, about an inch shy on the sides and going forward. Usually it's 9 by 15. This one's 8 by 14. Not a big deal, but actually King Pash is one that pointed it out to me. Otherwise I would just use the default settings. So I'm glad that he noticed it at least. But the weird things about this one is scouts deploy within 8 inches of enemy units instead of normal 12, and there's like an ambush. Basically, you have to choose up to two. Well, you have to choose the equivalent of 2 units to come in as ambushers. Characters and units count individually, so if you have a character and a unit that you're going to put in ambush, that would count as 2. Or if you have a character riding a monster, that counts as 2. And for mine, I did end up choosing my BSB, so that was my 2 for ambushing. And then also there was winter training. Players can apply a +1 or -1 to their reserve roll after rolling for each unit, and it did stack with anything else that would allow you to manipulate reserve rolls, which is kind of neat. It made it so you could definitely get your guy out if you want. You need a 3-up instead of a 4-up, or you could hesitate if you rolled like a 4. You could hesitate another turn if you thought it was more beneficial for you to wait another turn on that one. Like if you were losing, for example. That's the only thing I could think of, but I'm not a tactical genius or anything like that. But definitely an interesting scenario. The terrain ended up with Chapel of the Quest. Basically, there's a couple of lakes that are difficult terrain, a couple of woods that block line of sight and are difficult terrain, and a couple of hills. There was a chapel and some tents, some actual like structure terrain on this one that was just impassable, but no dangerous terrain anywhere, which I was really kind of hoping for because he has more models than I do, and it makes it so that he has a better chance of rolling a 1 for going through there. Just didn't work out in this one, but having the hills and the difficult and terrain with the hills and the lakes and all that stuff, or I'm sorry, with the woods and the lakes, I was gonna try to use it. That's one of my biggest like positives from this entire tournament. The terrain is different and it really changes up how the games play. I like that a lot. The spells I got for this one are Glittering Robe, Mind Razor, the Confusion, think Cacophony or whatever of Confusion, and Spectral Doppelganger, thank God. My opponent's 2 level 4s got his first one got Fleshy Abundance, Blue Flame, Demonic Vigor, the Summoning, and Demonic Vessel or something like that. And then his other one got Blue Flame, Pillar of Flame, Arcane Urgency, Oaken Shield, and Cowardly Flight. And here's deployment. I mean, I'm going up against Warriors of Chaos. There isn't a whole lot of subtlety here, as I've said many times. So I just racked and stacked. My Iron Blaster's right there on the hill because I need him to do some damage. I know he's probably going to get charged. I'm hoping to maybe get the charge with him and get those impact hits in. But yeah, that's a lot of knights, a lot of fast-moving stuff. I knew I was going to be on. He was going to be on me really quick. So I just stacked everything up, figuring maybe I could countercharge if I'm lucky. But yeah, the Iron Blaster on the hill, so he can shoot at whatever he wants. I was hoping to go first. That would have been a beautiful shot into his knights. Not the ones in the terrain, obviously. And then I have my bulls in front, hoping to kind of chaff a little bit if I can, with the Iron Guts right behind them to countercharge whenever the bulls chaff. The Noblars are right behind my Iron Guts as the batteries, because that's what they do. And then we got my Mordfang next to them, because, man, if they can get a good side charge into something or a good angle and then overrun, that's a lot of beefy boys right there. They do a ton of damage on the charge. And then in the back there, I've got my Hunter with his 2 kitties to just kind of aggressively bother one of the unit of knights if I can. You'll see how that goes. My BSB on his Thunder Tusk is in reserves. He's going to come in per the scenario rules. For my opponent on his our left flank, his right, he's got his Chosen on the lake there. Yeah, that's just the most terrifying brick on the table. He's got a unit of Marauder Horsemen right next to him with his Undivided Caster with them. He's got a marching column unit of dogs right there, and yeah, he's going to use them as chaff, which is exactly what he should do. And then the second most terrifying brick on the table is his 10 Chaos Knights with his Chaos Lord and other Sorcerer Lord installed. It's like a billion points worth of FU right there. I don't even know what I'm going to do about it. And then he took his 2 Dragon Ogre Shartax and used them in ambush to meet the scenario requirements. That's it for deployment. Here's top of 1 after movement, and as per tradition, I did not go first. I never do. I never really do. But yeah, he's good. His dogs come in and chaff up my whole front line. There's not a whole lot I can do about that, but it is what it is. Yeah, I know I'm gonna have to deal with the dogs. I'm fine with dealing with the dogs. It's just he kind of blocks everything at the moment, which is little difficult to deal with. His chosen on the left flank there, they're drilled, so they moved into marching formation, and there's nothing I can do. I'm gonna lose my cannon. We all know I'm gonna lose my cannon. He just outmaneuvered me here, and there's nothing I can do about it. His Martyr Horsemen move up through the water a little bit as far as they can, and really that's about it for movement. So in the magic phase, his caster and the Marauder Horseman does attempt to cast, I believe, Blue Flame and miscast 7. Nothing bad happens to him. The spell just doesn't go off. He's not able to wound or he makes a save. So it's not a big deal. What is interesting, though, is that the next spell that he tries to cast with the same caster miscasts again, this time a 5. Yeah, I don't know why the dice gods are favoring me so much or hating him so much, but you know what? I'll take what I can get. The little pie plate centers right over him as so. He gets hit completely with 3 partials. And when the smoke settles, 2 of the Marauder Horsemen are dead. His character did get wounded, but he was able to make his ward save no problem. Yeah, definitely a wild first turn when it comes to magic. So with that, we go over here to bottom of 1, and I do what I can. I fire forward with the bulls into the dogs because I got to deal with the chaff. He stands, we slam into him. Way too close for me to get impact hits, but it's still 9 attacks from ogre bulls into naked dogs. I'm feeling pretty good about it. And to hedge my bets, in case the dogs get away, I was not going to pursue if I could stop them. And with the confounding confusion, whatever. Basically, the dogs are stupid. So if they do rally or whatever, maybe they get a stupidity check. Maybe they block the path. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Other than that, the only real movement I do is I move my Iron Guts and my what's it called, my Noblars over to the right to get off the hill so that his chosen can't see me. Because the last thing I want right now is to be charged and flanked by chosen. And my Iron Blaster moves back a little bit. I still want to be able to shoot at the knights and stuff like that, but I don't want to take that charge and let them just kind of, domino effect throughout my entire army because chosen chaos knights are terrifying, and since they're drilled they can change their facing and charge no problem. It's such a good unit. Also, my hunter moves up a little bit to get a better angle at things. I'm thinking about charging him into the rear of the knights. I know it's a stupid idea, but it's one that I have, so we'll see. Other than that, that's pretty much it for my movement. In the shooting phase, I end up going after the Marauder Horseman. I can only hit one because of the terrain, but it was an easier shot than shooting at the knights because once I hit the woods, it would just stop. So I was able to shoot at them, and I did a single wound because I was able to hit one guy, and then it stopped as soon as it hit the terrain, which was the lake. I don't make the rules; I just try to abide by them. But hey, one less Marauder Horseman to worry about. And with that, we go into combat, and the bulls don't do great, but they don't do terrible. Yeah, I end up doing 3 wounds, 9 attacks, hitting and wounded 3 times. Not great. Luckily for me, with flank and close order, I have 5 combat res. The dogs weren't able to do anything back to the bulls. I was gonna try to restrain initially, but when I saw the direction they were fleeing, I was like, I kind of like that angle, so I pursued. We caught the dogs no problem, which was a shock, I gotta be honest, and I was able to catch the curs and reform. So that was very nice. So the bulls are sitting right there looking at these terrifying brick of Chaos Knights with a Chaos Lord and Sorcerer Lord attached, and are getting ready to run away should they charge us. Here's top of 2, and I really tried to be clever here. I did. His chosen obviously charged my Iron Blaster, and then his big brick of Terrifying Knights charged my bulls. Both units flee. The bulls were going to flee regardless. I knew that was going to happen. But with the chosen, I toyed with trying to stick it out, but I mean, he's drilled. I knew he was going to flatten out like he did, just spread out like for just one rank wide of just every single psychopath he could put into combat, which is smart. And I realized I was going to lose the Iron Blaster. There was no reason to give him that position. And if I fled, yeah, I was going to flee off the table. But at the same time, he wouldn't be able to reform. He'd be stuck. He'd be out of position. It gives me time to get my Iron Guts and everything out of the way. So that's what I did. I fled with the Iron Blaster. He went off the table, no problem. But the chosen Chaos Knights are now out of position. They're spread out. I can't do anything about it, and I did lose my cannon, but at least they're not in the way now. Or they're not threatening me for a turn or two. That I think was worth the cannon. It hurt, it sucked, I wasn't happy about it, but that's what I did. On the right side there, the bulls fled through the Mornfang, causing a panic check, and of course the Mornfang panicked. Of course they panicked. Luckily, they're above 50%, so it was just fall back in good order. They came and turned around, but now the bulls are blocking my counter charge. My one hope is that my bad rolls keep working for me, and the bulls continue to flee. Other than that, his Marauders moved up a little bit. His Dragon Ogres came onto the table, one in the back to threaten my Hunter, and the other one on my side there to threaten my Mornfang and Bulls. That was pretty much it for movement, but it was an eventful phase. In the magic phase, he's able to get his Pillar of Flame off, and that'll show up in just a second. And he's also able to get Blue Flame off on my Iron Guts. And even with regen, 2 wounds get through onto the unit, which sucks just a little bit. Blue Flame is a really powerful spell. With that, here's the bottom of 2 after movement, and yeah, desperation and panic. I even told my opponent, well, I've got no good moves here. There's nothing I can really do other than just charge into you and hope against hope that I make it in. And I got lucky. My bulls did continue to panic. They did not pass their leadership to rally, which means my Mornfang could go in. So the Iron Guts and the Mornfang charged the knights, who accepted the charge, and I couldn't have been happier. I was just like, this is my best bet. I didn't know if it was going to work out. It all really came down to how many wounds I could do. Duh. But yeah, I've lost my Iron Blaster. I've lost my bulls. I'm in a bad position. I need to do something. So I did. And yeah, the Mornfang and the Iron Guts are going in. They both make it. I hedged my bets. I got Glittering Robes and regen off on my Iron Guts this turn, which is huge. And also I got the Confusion spell off on the Knights, making them stupid this turn if I'm lucky. if for some reason they win and I'm running away from them, maybe they'll be stupid and not be able to charge or anything like that. I'm trying to hedge my bets to the best of my ability. Other than that, the Noblars, they tried to march forward to get in the range of the Slaughtermaster and failed their leadership, so they couldn't. And then my Hunter on the top there charged into the Dragon Ogre that was threatening him because he's a skirmisher and can do that. Other than that, my Bruiser did come on the table, and he's threatening the other Sorcerer Lord with the Marauder Horseman, and that's the best I could do. That's it for movement. It really comes down to this. Turn 2, we're going to know how this game goes. So in the beginning of the turn, before I forget, the Pillar of Flame did go through. It didn't hurt the Iron Guts, but it did eat up a few of my Noblars, which, I mean, it's fine. They're batteries for a reason, but it was there, and I want to make sure to record and show it. At the end of my strategic phase, I was able to dispel it with my Slaughtermaster, so it's gone in the next. That's why you didn't see it in the turn picture. So in the shooting phase, the only thing I can do is shoot the Ogre pistol on my Bruiser into the Marauder Horseman, and I actually drop a guy. Past his armor, past the ward save. I was thrilled. I love that guy so much. We go into combat, and this couldn't have gone much better for me. My Mornfang do 11 impact hits. I rolled 3 6s and a 3 for their impact hits. 11 strength 5 impact hits at AP 1, Armor Bane 1. I think I ended up wounding 9 times. 6 of them were at -1, 3 of them were at -2. The Mornfang really, when I needed them the most, they were there. The Iron Guts actually did a lot of wounds themselves with impact hits thanks to the Bull standard. So, wow. By impact hits alone. Also, my opponent rolled like crap for his saves. But yeah, just the sheer volume of wounds and my opponent's poor rolling. Impact hits alone took care of all 10 of the Chaos Knights. Killed each and every one of them. Oh, I couldn't have been happier. I mean, I feel bad for my opponent. Don't get me wrong. I hate it when my dice screw me like that, but man, I needed that. So when the dice started rolling to see, for hits and wounds, I was able to just have to swing at his Sorcerer Lord and his Chaos Lord. I think I did 1 wound to his Chaos Lord, as you see here, and my Mornfang were able to flat out kill the Sorcerer Lord, which was huge. I ended up with 16 combat res to his 7, so I believe I win by 9. I restrained with my Iron Guts and then reformed them to look over by the Marauder Horseman and the Chosen, just in case. And the Mornfang pursued. Now, they've got the Cannibal standard, so all they can do is roll 1d6 plus their Swift Stride, so 2d6 basically. My opponent did flee with Swift Stride, rolled really, really low, and the Mornfang just barely, but did catch him by about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. hit him, catch the curse, reform, turned like so, and yeah, that was game changing right there. So happy with the Mornfang, so happy with the Iron Guts. Could not have asked for a better result. Combat over here doesn't go quite as well, but honestly, my hunter really isn't made to take on a dragon ogre like this. In the end, I do 3 wounds to him, he does 3 wounds to me. Neither of us have close order or anything like that, so it's a drawn combat, and we just continue trying to pummel each other. So yeah, I had a really good turn there, but this game is far from over, as my opponent shows. So he does split up his Sorcerer Lord from the Marauder Horseman, the 3 that are remaining. The Marauder Horseman kind of moved to bait out my Iron Guts, which I'm going to take that bait, and he positions himself so he can't be charged easily. My Bruiser can still see him, but going through the dangerous terrain, or I'm sorry, difficult terrain, is going to make the charge almost impossible. His Dragon Ogre moves up to threaten my Mornfang's flank. The Chosen do the same, and yeah, that's really about it. Everything else is in combat. His Sorcerer Lord, his remaining Sorcerer Lord, does move to target my Iron Guts, and I'm not looking forward to that. But well, you'll see what happens. So honestly, nothing really happens. His magic phase and stuff like that, my Slaughtermaster is rolling out of a box to stop spells and everything like that. Couldn't be happier with him. So we go straight into combat. And yeah, combat goes well for him over here. He's able to murder one of my dogs with his stomps, and my hunter, he hit him a bunch of times. I think he wounded once, and he was able to armor save it because it's just additional hand weapons. I didn't roll a 6. There was no armor bane or anything. He kills my hunter and one of the cats. He wins by 4. And I kid you not, I literally rolled Snake Eyes to break, so I just gave ground. And we're still in combat. He followed up, and the cat's dead, but he is the most stubborn cat on the planet. Couldn't be prouder. With that over, here's bottom of 3 after movement, and my Iron Guts go after the Marauder Horsemen who flee. They get away, no problem. My my Iron Guts miss them by just a little bit. My Mornfang don't charge anything because they can't. They just turn to face the Dragon Ogre, and it is what it is. My Bruiser does charge his Sorcerer Lord, who flees, and he gets away no problem. I rolled pretty good actually for my charge roll, but as you can see, I didn't even come close to catching him. He was just way too far away and too much difficult terrain. And then my Noblars, there are a few of them, and I'll show you why in just a second, but they just kind of turn around and reform to face the Knights, the Chosen, because they're going to throw sharp stuff at them and give up their lives sweet, because I don't want to lose my Mornfang to the incredible amount of attacks that the Chosen would put on them. Other than that, there's nothing really else to report in movement. At the start of the turn, he moves his Pillar of Flame that he did get off last turn. I wasn't able to stop it, and it bounces through my Iron Guts. I believe it kills one of the Iron Guts outright and damages a bunch of the Noblars. Noblars and everybody stay. We don't panic or anything like that, but that was a lot more damage than I was hoping for, and right after this, I'm able to dispel the Pillar of Flame. But yeah, probably the best Vortex in the game, short of Black Horror. Nothing happens in shooting or magic because everything charged or whatnot, so we go straight into combat, and the Dragon Ogre is easily able to defeat my poor Sabertusk. He did put a wound on him, but he saved it no problem, and in return beat this thing to bloody pulps. You know what? Bravest Sabertusk on the planet. I'm very proud of him. No complaints. The Dragon Ogre did overrun afterwards and moved maybe 6-7 inches. Not a ton. With combat over, we go over here to top of 4 after movement, and his Chosen slam into the Noblars. Nothing I can do about that. They did stand and shoot both times. They put like 1 or 2 wounds total onto the Chosen, but they made their armor save no problem. Would have been hilarious if one had gotten through. I'd have died laughing. But no, was not meant to be. He was able to save everything, get into the Noblars, and well, I'm pretty sure they've got the Chosen no problem. It is Dragon Ogre charge into the Mornfang. Honestly, I don't know why. Even if he did hit and wounded with all 4, I still probably will kill him, so I stood and took it no problem. His Sorcerer Lord, I believe, continues to flee. Not very far, but I can't... No, he rallies. And just moves over to threaten the Mornfang a little bit, I guess. The Dragon Ogre comes over to possibly threaten the Bruiser. I welcome the charge, and his Marauder Horsemen do not rally. That's the unit that didn't rally this turn, and they flee off the table. So, yeah, that's it for movement. Nothing happens in magic or shooting. My Slaughtermaster is able to dispel pretty much everything. I'm sure he gets Pillar of Flame off again. I'll show you in a second if he did. So we go into combat, and the Dragon Ogre actually does well. He does take out a Mournfang, but in return, he gets his head knocked off his shoulders. So yeah, Mournfang are thrilled, and they turn around to face the Sorcerer Lord, who had the audacity to come look at them strange. Also, if the Chosen decide to overrun past the Noblars, like they fail their restraint test or whatever, and I can hit them in the flank, I will 1000% do that with my Mournfang if at all possible. So I'm feeling pretty good about my positioning. Surprisingly enough, in the combat with the Noblars against the Chosen Chaos Knights, the Noblars do not come out on top. They get slaughtered to a man, and it's very, very sad. My opponent is not an idiot, and instead of overrunning, he's able to restrain, and then he reforms into marching formation like so. Very obvious, very smart. And I'm still going to charge a Sorcerer Lord, but I know how dangerous this is. So here's bottom of 4 after movement and all the other noise. And yeah, here's where we start our cat and mouse game, because I know I'm winning by points right now and my opponent has to do something about it. And I'm just positioned luckily enough where I don't have to engage in any combats if I don't want to. So yeah, the next few turns is a lot of cat and mouse, starting which my Mournfang charges Sorcerer Lord, knowing damn well he's going to flee. He does. He gets away just barely. But he does. My Bruiser stays in position. He does we're gonna shoot at him with Mind Razor and the Ogre Pistol, trying to take out the Sorcerer Lord to best of our ability. And yeah, that the Iron Gut just kind of turn around and face. That's really it. Not a ton of movement. So here's the top and bottom of turn 5. I didn't take a picture at top of turn 5, but I do have one at the bottom of turn 5 because so little happened, more or less. Basically, in his turn, his Sorcerer Lord continued to flee, fled through my Bruiser, took a Perils test, and took a wound. His Chosen charged a flank of my Mournfang, and my Mournfang fled. They got away. The Chosen ended up right where they were, and during my turn, they rallied, so they turned to face the Chosen. No big deal. My Bruiser moved over to try to shoot its Dragon Ogre this turn and failed. And my Iron Guts turned to look at the Sorcerer Lord so I could try to Mind Razor him, and that failed as well. So there's the top and bottom of turn 5, pretty much in a nutshell. That's why I just kind of combined it into one picture. That takes us here to the top of 6, where really his Sorcerer Lord rallies, moves up behind the Bruiser to try to do some damage. The Dragon Ogre gets out of the way of any kind of charge arcs, and the Chosen move around to threaten the Mournfang, but it's top of 6. They're not going to be able to do anything. That is literally it for his turn. Here's bottom of turn 6, and I toyed with the idea of the Mournfang charging the Chosen, but I don't think I could see him. I think the woods were blocking line of sight. Either way, doesn't matter. There was no reason to charge them, and honestly, I think the Chosen win that because they have counter charge, and it's just too dangerous. So no, there was no reason for it. The Iron Guts just kind of pivot around to try a desperate try at Mind Razor on the Sorcerer Lord again, and the Bruiser turns around so he can shoot the Dragon Ogre and try to put that last wound in on him. That's really it for movement. In the shooting phase, I'm not able to get Mind Razor to do anything. It goes off. I'm just not able to do anything with it. It doesn't wound. But the Dragon Ogre dies. The Bruiser turns, shoots, and kills. I rolled a 6 to hit and a 6 to wound, and he did not save it. Oh, I didn't need to do it. It just felt good to do it. And yeah, probably the play of the game right there. Yeah, I'm an asshole. I know. And there it is. There's the end of the game. I ended up getting 1,458 points out of him. He ended up getting 550 out of me. Oh man, that turn 2 charge, crushing the Chaos Knights, the Chaos Lord, and a Sorcerer Lord really just turned the whole game around for me because I was losing. The Iron Blaster and the Bulls being gone like that. I mean, ouch. I don't have a whole lot of models on the table. Losing 4 like that right off the bat really hurt. Losing a Hunter shortly thereafter sucked. But yeah, taking out that huge chunk of points right there in the beginning was massive and changed the whole tempo of the game for me. But what cinched it, I don't care what you say, is shooting off the Dragon Ogre in the last turn. That was super important. But I feel like I made a lot of good decisions. I got lucky in where I needed to get lucky. And felt good. Felt like a real good game, and it was a I believe a 15-5 victory for Lord Tremendous, which was huge. I needed that because I've lost my last 2 games in this tournament. So I think this brought me up to like 15th place. I think there's like 42, 43 people total in the game right now, or at least that signed up at the beginning. I don't know how many are still in, but you know what? This was a great game. It was a lot of fun. King Pash is a phenomenal player, and yeah, I'm excited about the recap. So let's get to it. So yeah, I checked. This was a 15-5 victory for Lord Tremendous, which is really, really good. I needed that in order to get my stats boosted back up into this tournament. I was sitting in the mid to low 20s, not happy about that. So being in the top 20s is much better. Top 50%, I'll take it. You know what? I'm a glass half full of piss kind of guy. That turn 2 charge of the Mornfang and the Iron Guts into that huge, terrifying brick of Chaos Knights was what changed the game for me. And I do accept 100% that I got lucky as hell, but the Mornfang were MVPs. Doing 11 out of 12 impact hits. I mean, 3 6s and a 3. Thank you, Dice Gods. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. And I take back the syphilis comment from the previous game. But yeah, them knocking that out and then just being such threats on the board, finishing off the Dragon Ogre that charged them and stuff like that, that was huge. That was huge. They did really good this game. The Iron Guts did really well this game too, slamming into the Knights, finishing them off, being able to put some damage on the Chaos Lord, and just being an overall threat. I was very pleased with both those units this game. I hated to lose my Iron Blaster, but I really just kind of contemplated that my charge reaction when they charged him. It's like, yeah, I could take maybe 1 or 2 out if I'm lucky, but he's going to demolish this unit. I'm going to flee. He's going to restrain. He's going to look at the flank of my Iron Guts, and then he's just going to steamroll me. I knew I was going to lose the Iron Blaster either way. The only regret I have is I should have maybe moved him up to just blast him with the flame template. I think that would have been smarter, but honestly, the sacrifice was worth it. It took his Chosen out of the game. They were able to get 185 points total. They didn't even make up their points. I feel like it was the right thing to do. I just hated that I had to do that. I got outmaneuvered by my opponent. I almost feel bad for the Noblars. They got beat up pretty bad. Used for casting dice, and then, of course, getting hit by the multiple vortexes, and then getting sacrificed to the Chosen. Ooh, damn. I mean, okay, so yeah, I did say they only got 185. They got another 40 for the Noblars as well. The Sabertusk coming in clutch, holding that Dragon Ogre back another turn with Snake Eyes after losing by 4. I wasn't super happy with the Hunter. Granted, he's not really kitted out to deal with something that has a 3-up armor save, but man, I was hoping he was going to do better than that. That first round of combat looked good, but after that, he died miserably, and not super impressed by that. The Chosen, I'm sorry, I had no answer for the Chosen Chaos Knights. They were way too terrifying to get into any kind of combat with. They could countercharge, they could reform. Just way too many kits, way too dangerous. I think I handled them the best that I could. And I need to think about that in future lists. Like, what am I going to do when I run into big bricks of, high-octane units like that? But this was a fantastic game against a great opponent, and I would happily welcome a rematch. King Pash, you're the man. All right, I did good, so I get to add to the pyre in the Warriors of Chaos column. I got my first Chaos Lord and threw him on the list, which was excellent. And then I got my first Sorcerer Lord, threw him on the list as well. Oh, King Hotep is going to be so pleased. Finally, he's going to be not disappointed in his mercenaries. There was no Demon Prince on the table, so I couldn't add anything there. In core, I did get 6 more Chaos Warhounds, bringing my total up to 22. 7 more Marauder Horsemen, bringing that total up to 45. There were no Chaos Warriors, but I did get that brick of 10 Knights. Oh, Mornfang Iron Gut Charge, thank you for 10 more, bringing my total up to 28. And there were no Forsaken Chariots or Tribe Berserkers on the table. In special, I got both those Dragon Ogres. Oh, the Bruiser, Lord Tremendous, bringing it in clutch with that pistol shot at the end. So 2 more Dragon Ogres, bringing my total up to 7. No Huskarls or Skinwolves, and of course, since there's nothing in rare, those are my numbers. But all in all, not too shabby. The king will be pleased. And then I like to just kind of look at the numbers of Chaos Dwarves and Orcs and Goblins that I've killed. The numbers just keep going up, and that makes me happy. And we can just take a minute to appreciate how many humans I have killed and sent to the great King Hotep. Move the High Elves over next to their neglected Dark Elf cousins. No changes here, I just like to look at the numbers. Ah, yes, the Dead Wood Elves and Tomb Kings. Haven't run into those guys in a while. I'd like to kill some more soon. And yeah, here's the Beastman numbers. I probably won't run into them again anytime soon, so these numbers are going to stay the same, and I'm okay with that. It feels good to have them on the board. But that's going to do it for this one. Another battle report in the history books. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But as always, thanks!